Hi, Jenny. I'm glad to see you back. How are you doing today?
Hi, thanks. I'm doing okay.
Okay, well, to start off today's session, we're going to work together to set the agenda. So, we're going to lay out what our time together today is going to look like, and then we're going to take this time in the beginning of every session. We're going to make sure that we address everything that we want to throughout the session. So, for today, I have a few things that I think we should address, and then if there's anything that I'm missing or that you think that we should address, I would like you to let me know so we can add it in. Does that sound all right with you?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So, seeing as today is our first session after our initial evaluation session, it's going to look a little different than our typical sessions while moving forward. So, the first thing that we're going to do today is called a mood check. So, we're going to briefly discuss how last week has been and how you're feeling. This is also when we'll review any worksheets that I have you fill out before you get here, and we'll talk about your mood throughout the week. There were a couple worksheets in the lobby that I asked you to fill out before our start time. Did you have a chance to do that?
Yeah, I did. I have them right here. Do you want me to talk about them?
Great. So not quite yet, but we will get to them in a minute. After our mood check, we're going to talk about any important updates or changes that you've had in the last week. And then we're going to typically address our homework. So since last week was our evaluation session, there was no homework given. So we can skip past that part for today. But today's session will be the first that homework is given at the end of the session. So after today, we will discuss the most. So after today, at this time of the session, we will be discussing your homework. After discussing homework, we'll discuss the most significant problems that you've been having, and we can determine how to prioritize our time in the best way. Then you will choose a specific problem and we'll identify a coping skill for that problem. After that, we'll close the session by summarizing what we've gone over today, discussing the homework to bring in for next week, and then we'll discuss any feedback that you have for the session. I know that's like a lot of information, but does that all sound okay to you?
Yeah, that sounds fine to me. I was actually kind of nervous coming back, so I'm kind of glad that you laid it out like this because I didn't really know what to expect at all.
Great. I'm so glad to hear that. And if you ever have any questions or if you're confused about anything that we're working on, please feel free to ask me. Is there anything that you think is missing from today's session in what I've laid out so far?
I don't think so. If I come up with something later though, can I like bring it up?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe depending on our time, we may not be able to get to something you bring up in the same session that you bring it up, but we can always add it to our notes and look back on it in a future session.
Okay, that's fine.
So now it's time for our mood check, and we're going to review those worksheets that we talked about a minute ago. So, how has your week been? How have you been feeling?
It's been okay, I guess. I've been kind of struggling with my motivation, like with school.
Mhm.
I feel like just like no matter what I do, I'm always like behind with school. So this week, I submitted like two assignments late, and my professors like weren't very understanding about it. So I'm just
Okay.
getting to the point where I feel like I work so hard for nothing, and I just want to quit.
Mm. I can see that in looking over the worksheet that you filled out that you've been feeling pretty unmotivated and unhappy this week. So thank you for taking the time to complete those and thank you for sharing that all with me. Do you think that those two words would best summarize how you've been feeling this week?
Um, yeah, unmotivated and unhappy, pretty much. Filling out those forms was like kind of weird. I felt like I didn't want to at first, but it gave me like I guess a way to like look at how I felt over the past week. So I think it helped.
Okay, great. So moving forward, is that something that you would like to be a weekly exercise?
Yeah.
Okay. Has anything important happened since last session?
I got a new job.
Oh,
I
okay.
really think I'm gonna like it, but I'm a little bit worried about like how my supervisors, are gonna what they're gonna think of me, because I want to make a good impression. So I'm kind of nervous about that.
Well, congratulations about your new job. It's really great to hear that you're starting somewhere that you think that you're really going to enjoy. But it sounds like it's maybe a bit stressful to be starting somewhere new and like on top of the stress that you were feeling already about school. Maybe it seems like a lot.
Yeah, I honestly just like took the job without even like considering school. I just feel really done with that. And I kind of want to just move on to my job and not have to do more work when I get home, like from work.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have like a lot on your plate right now. Is there anything that you did at all this week that helped alleviate any of your stress?
I don't know, not really. I guess like when I'm walking my dog, I don't think too much about it. But I feel like I walk my dog because like I have to, not
Mhm,
like as an activity for me.
mhm.
Um, so there isn't really something that's like just for me, I don't think.
Is something like taking time for yourself something that you would like to work on incorporating in your day?
Yeah, like if I had more time, like if I could manage my time better, um, I feel like I would probably feel a lot better and it would be easier to like wrap my head around everything, if I was able to do that.
Okay, so I can note that as something to potentially work on moving forward.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so now we can move on to reviewing the problem that you came in about last week. So let's check in with that. How are you feeling about it?
Well, I've really struggled quite a bit with like finding motivation to like just continue with school. I just feel like I keep like it's pretty easy for me to talk myself into reasons why it like doesn't matter anymore
Mhm,
and that I should just quit.
mhm.
Everything just feels like heavy. I don't have a great relationship with my family, and I don't really have anyone else to reach out to, so I'm just kind of struggling.
So I'm hearing that you're feeling really overwhelmed and just weighed down by everything that's in your life right now.
Yeah, I'm weighed down.
Sounds like you're really struggling with managing your time and all of the different commitments and responsibilities and all that's on your shoulders has maybe kind of start to feel like a strain on you.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, if I could manage my time better, uh, I'd have more time to do things for myself, and then I wouldn't always feel behind. So then maybe I wouldn't feel so like down and stressed out.
So it sounds to me like the two main problems that you're experiencing is, feeling heavy and overwhelmed and then feeling unable to manage your time in a way that you feel is efficient. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Okay. Is there anything else about your week or your feelings that you'd like to discuss?
No, I think those are pretty much it.
Okay. So of those problems that we talked about, which of them would be your priority to focus on today?
Probably just the time management. I don't know if I'm like in the mood to delve deep into my feelings.
Okay, that's fair. So we can identify time management as a skill to work on this week. So we can work on finding ways to engage, to incorporate time management into your life so that your work isn't causing you as much stress. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, I'd like that.
Okay, so let's explore a bit of your trouble with time management. Do you think this has always been a problem for you, or do you feel like you were previously able to manage your time pretty well?
No, actually, it used to not be a problem at all.
Mhm.
Like even I got a little overwhelmed in the beginning of the year just with everything going on for like 3 weeks. And I was like missing deadlines and I couldn't catch up with anything. And I just got all my dates like wrong and it felt like nothing was going right. And it just feels like kind of since then, things haven't gotten back on track. When I start to work, I realize something I missed and then I get overwhelmed and I just don't want to do any of it. And then the next time, like I try to do work, I just feel overwhelmed before like I even sit down. So then I just get pushed back further and further, and I'm farther away from getting things done.
Okay, so it sounds a bit like the issue may not be so much your time, but the thoughts and feelings associated with your requirements and the things you need to do.
Hmm, maybe.
So I see that time is something that's really challenging for you. And like we discussed last week, CBT works with the connections between thoughts and feelings and actions. And the situation sounds like it could be a good opportunity for some CBT work. So in this situation, we can work to identify what thoughts and feelings are influencing your actions or your choice to not complete your work in this case. So let's explore all of your beliefs around your schoolwork. When you look at your computer to start working, what do you think to yourself?
Um, I just think about, excuse me, about like the overwhelming amount of work that I have to do. I think about how I'll never get it all done. And just how like even if I did get some of it done, there's just still more right behind it and it just never ends.
I see. And how do those thoughts then make you feel?
I don't know, angry, I guess. Like upset with myself, feel like overwhelmed and stressed and flustered, and I just want to like cry and go to bed.
So let's try and think of another way that you could, another thought that you could have when you sit down at your computer to work. What's another thought that you could have?
I can think about how if I sit down, if I just focus for a little while, I can use that time later to do whatever I want.
Okay. And how would that way of thinking make you feel?
I don't know, probably not so angry. Maybe I'll feel like if I just get it over with, um, that could be a lot better than facing it with dread.
Okay, great. So when we reframe our thoughts about certain events or situations, we can work to reframe how we feel in response to those thoughts. So in the coming week, do you think that you could try to work on maybe catching yourself on those negative thought patterns to try to think differently about the situation and maybe notice if you feel any differently about it?
Yeah, I can try. It feels like a lot easier to do here in the moment than when I'm alone at home.
Yeah, that's understandable. And it's a process. And next week, we'll talk about how it went throughout the week and we can move on from there. Does
Okay.
that all sound okay to you?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and review today's session. Today we checked in on your mood. We discussed what our sessions would look like and we planned them out. We spoke about our most pressing problems that you're currently experiencing, and we worked to practice reframing thoughts around your schoolwork and having to sit down at your computer for work. So I know it's a lot of information, but is there anything that I'm missing or anything that you would like for me to address?
I don't think so. I like the reframing thing, so I think I'm gonna work on that.
Okay, great. So before we wrap up, let's make sure that the homework is something that feels manageable and doable because I know that you already have a lot on your plate and I don't want to give you more to do. So, do you do your schoolwork at the same time every day?
Nah, it's like at different times. It depends on my schedule.
Okay. So, how about we write down the positive thoughts about your schoolwork so that you can remember them before sitting down to start? How long do you think it would take you to go over that sentence that we discussed a minute ago?
I don't know, like 20 seconds?
Okay, great. So does that sound doable for you? Taking a minute to maybe think of something similar to that sentence that we said before beginning your schoolwork?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, perfect. And what about when you're done with the schoolwork? Do you think that you could maybe take 1 minute to jot down or even just think about how you feel and any major thoughts that you're having after completing it?
Yeah, it would only take me like a minute or two.
Okay, great. So does that sound like a manageable homework for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. So when you come in next week, we will discuss that further. To close our session, is there anything that I could have done differently today?
Not that I can think of. I think it was good.
Okay, great. We'll see you next week then.
Okay.